All right, we're recording this session. This is our second session of the Agent University, Agent Marketing University. And we're going to go over today, we're going to go over in particular marketing to a database because we want to start making sure we market to our spheres of influence. One of the things we're probably taking for granted a lot, especially right now, is the fact that on Facebook, everybody we're friends with is not seeing our posts. Only those people that you're most active with are the ones that are seeing you post. And you can talk. Why is that? It's basically Facebook is create an algorithm to try. I think it could be for two reasons. One is they want to make sure your relationships with people that you're closest with are the ones you're seeing, because if you're friends with 2,000 people and you had to scroll through 2,000 people's posts every day to see certain people's posts, then it probably wouldn't keep your interest as much as if you're always seeing your family and friends that you're liking their stuff, they're liking yours, you're commenting on their stuff, they're commenting on yours. So liking stuff and being interactive with the people you're connected to will give you a better shot at making sure your stuff that you post is seen by those people, but it's still not guaranteed either. And if you think about it from a perspective of how you go on Facebook every day, do you spend hours scrolling through stuff? Probably not. Sometimes you have a few minutes, you scroll quick, you're gone. That's why, also when you're thinking about the amount of times you post, don't think of it like, man, I'm going to be annoying the crap out of everybody, because it's probably not the case. Because probably, a lot of people probably aren't seeing your stuff. Just so if you posted that edit right now, Jeff, some people will see it, and then by the time this afternoon comes, it'll be down in their news feed. They probably won't see it. You know what I mean? You got to be consistent with your posts. But it's not enough to just rely on the fact that Facebook is going to put your posts in front of people all the time. You can't rely on that fact anymore. So I don't know what I have going on here. Well, a little delay, but you have to make sure you're putting it in front of them in different ways. One of the ways we want to do this is we want to build our sync databases as big as possible so that we can take those databases, download the CSV file, the Excel file, upload it into Facebook, and advertise to everybody we're connecting to on sync. That way, we have a better shot at making sure that we're in front of the people we want to be in front of.
Do we have this as printout?
No, I will send it to everybody. And in fact, I can actually print it now if you want to follow on with that. So this workbook that I've put together, it's going to be constantly changing. So it's going to have revision dates on the top. I'm spending a good portion of my time outside of the training just researching advertising methods and demographics and different ways of advertising on Facebook and Google to help you guys become better marketers. At the end of the day, you guys hear all the talk about what's going on with the tech industry, and there's a big tech shift in the real estate industry. And yes, there is, because there's more big data coming into play. There's more predictive analytics coming into play. There's more tools out there to help advertisers hone in on who they're advertising to. But in my opinion, this is a marketing war that's going on. And the marketing war that's going on is who's going to market, who's going to be the one spending the money, who's going to be the one capturing the leads, and once they capture leads and convert those leads, who can control those people more. So the more that the Zillows and the Real.coms of the world can advertise, capture leads, and convert them, and then sell them to us, they're going to be looking to take a bigger and bigger pieces of the real estate commission pie from our agents' hands. So the way to battle that is to become a really good marketer yourself. If you don't become a really good marketer yourself, then someone else is going to do it for you, and they're not going to give it to you at cost. If it costs them, if you look at every deal that you want to try to secure and you want to secure it by advertising, it might cost you anywhere from 10 to 20% of your gross commission. So if you're looking at a $5,000 commission check that you want to come into your hands, you might have to spend between 10 and 20% to capture that, which would be between $500 and $1,000. And I've always said those numbers because I've followed a lot of people in this industry that are highly successful with an advertising lead generation model. And for every deal in this area, you're going to spend between $500 and $1,000 to secure that piece of business. But what's nice about that is once you know your model, know how you're advertising, have your plan in place, and have that money working towards yourself, you can scale that as big as you want to go. So if you said, all right, let's take it in the middle between 500 and 1,000, we're going to say that it's going to cost me $750 per deal to acquire a piece of business that I can collect a commission check off of. Then if you wanted to close 30 deals, just take 30 times $750, that's $21,000. If you said I've got $21,000 right now and I can put it towards my advertising for the next year, I can help make sure that you close at least 30 deals in the business. Now, a lot of us aren't at that point yet. So so what you need to do is you need to start somewhere. You need to build your plan small now with your advertising model and grow it as you close more and more deals so that you can be 100% in control of your business and 100% control on how far you want to take it. If you want to take it to building a team of 10 people or more, then you can do it. If you want to close 200 deals, take 200 times $600. That's $120,000 a year. If you had a $120,000 budget a year, you can scale it to close 200 plus deals a year. 99% of all people don't have $210,000 sitting aside to put towards marketing to do that. But you got to start somewhere. They all start somewhere, and you just grow and you expand and you grow some more. So we want to build our advertising model to advertise ourselves so that we can eventually shut off the people that are giving us leads and requiring us to pay a profit to them for giving us the leads. The op cities of the world, they're making profit on capturing, converting, and giving us leads. There's real estate companies that are out there that are completely built on lead generation models. We know one of them here locally, and they're capturing the leads, they're converting the leads, and they're giving agents, and they're making a bigger profit piece off that lead generation. So we want to put the lead generation back in your hands, and it starts with becoming a good marketer and knowing what you need to do to market yourself and how to do it. And my goal will be to consistently keep educating you guys to make sure you understand how to market yourself, how to run the ads, how to analyze the ads, how to analyze your expenditure, how to analyze your return on investment. And you can't do that without using all the pieces of the tools we have. One being Sync, that's your database management system. Two being your lead pipeline. If you're not filling out your pipeline sheet up here and you don't know what your return on the ads you're spending are, then how are you going to feel comfortable in continuing to expand that? And the lead spend that you spend in, let's say, the next 2 months, you're not gonna clearly know in 2 months, like, oh, okay, I've closed 2 deals off it, so it's good. You're gonna probably have a half a dozen people, maybe a couple active buyers out of that. You're gonna have maybe 5 or 10 prospective that if you keep following up with, you might get them out looking at homes. And if you're putting them in your pipeline sheet, you'll know that you're getting credit for 10% of every prospective piece of business you put in there that's from my advertising spend. And everybody that you have that's out there active is going to give you a 20% score on that active. And it all calculates over so that you'll see, okay, I've spent this, and even though I don't have any closings yet, I've got, if I keep following up with these prospectives and these actives that have come out of that lead spend, then I know that I have a potential to make $15,000 off the $2,000 I spent. That makes me feel pretty good. If you don't put it in the pipeline, you're never going to know what potential return you have. You're just going to be going on a hope and a prayer, and that's what we don't want. We want to be able to analyze it and say, yeah, I don't have any closings yet, but I spent $1,500 on advertising, and I've got 5 potential pieces of business, and if one of them closes, I'm going to get $6,000 from it. Would that make you feel comfortable with it? That's why we need to make sure we're using all these tools. So this advertising marketing workbook is an ongoing document that I'm going to keep updating. And before we actually take a look at how to start using Facebook Ads Manager, I do want to quickly go through this and get your mind thinking about how you need to build your marketing platform. First, we need to get used to running ads for free from our website to Facebook. So just like we were just talking before this session with Jeff, is get used to sharing your website, whether it's your home value page. It could be, well, there's a few different ways, but you want to run at least 3 to 4 ads a week and mix it up. It could be a listing of yours or an office listing. That's an individual listing. You might want to share the hottest listings available in Shrewsbury. That could be another ad. Another ad should be get your home value. If you're looking to find out what your home's worth in today's market, click below. That could be another one. One special search ad. So go beyond just, hey, here's all the properties available in Shrewsbury. You could say, here's all the multifamilies that are available in Worcester. If you're thinking about buying an investment property, here's a link to the hottest ones in Worcester. Don't underestimate the value of or potential of clients that maybe have just bought a house with you in the last 2 years that may be saying, you know what, I'd love to invest in property. I've been still putting some money aside after I bought my first home, and I'm thinking maybe I want to back up some of my investments with an investment property. If you don't share it, then you won't know who's out there that's interested in it. And when someone clicks on it and goes to your website and registers, then you're going to have an opportunity to know that they're out there looking for that. We talked about the importance of doing this because if you're connected to 1,000 people on Facebook, but you don't know they're in the market for anything, then how can you figure out who you should contact? If they click on a link and end up on your website and register, not only do you now have their email address and their phone number, and it's as simple as all they have to do is click on log in with Facebook, which is an option when they register, and Facebook gives us all their information. So if they just click on log in with Facebook, we get their email address and their phone number. And most people's phone number on Facebook is the valid phone number to reach them, and most of them it's their cell phone. So it's the best way to take someone who you're just friends with on Facebook and get them into your database is by sharing stuff that they might be interested in. That's why even some of your home value ads shouldn't be based on, hey, if you're thinking about selling, click here to find out what your house is worth in today's market. You could just, some of your posts could just be, hey, it could be to all my friends and family, if you ever want to keep in the know on what your house is worth at any given time, here's a link to my home value website. I don't care if they're ready to buy or sell or not. If they click on the Facebook link and register, now I have more information than I ever had before. They were just a friend on Facebook. I didn't have a phone number. I didn't have an email address. Now you know. And obviously that gives you an opportunity to reach out and say, were you thinking about buying or selling or just checking on your home value? Oh, no, I'm just checking on my home value. I'm not looking to do anything right now. Great. Well, that's awesome. Hey, it was nice chatting with you again. You had a reason for calling, and that's a great way to reach out and just catch up, even if they're not looking to do anything right now. All right. Your number one job every week is to grow your database, because we're going to use your database to market to it consistently. This is why sharing from your website and your wall is so important. We talked about that. But your database is everything. The more information in your database, the better off you're going to be. If you can get their address, whether you look them up on public records or even ask them what their address is so you can stay in touch. Your power is in your database. The Sync platform is a great place to build it. We can always download it to Excel if you ever want it, download it to Excel, but it's a great place to just start with to add to your database. And it's as simple as click on this little link right here and adding all their information in, and then you don't have to send them the welcome email. So even if you're, hey, I just got a business card from somebody I want to stay in touch with, and maybe I can get some business out of them, even if it's an affiliate, a mortgage lender, I don't care what it is. If you got information for somebody, add them in here as a new lead and start building this database. Because the bigger it is, the better off it's going to be.
Well, when you add them into the database,
yes,
you just go to the whole general database, or
yes,
say you want to put your sphere of influence in there. Is your way to put like sphere of influence, and you click on that, and that's all your sphere of influence?
Yeah,
there's just going to bunch them into all of that.
Well,
No.
it's going to be in there, but there's a label that's already been created, that's sphere of influence. So
Yep.
if you just apply that label, then you can sort by that label.
So here's the new lead window. You add all the information you have in for them, and then you add a label. So there's a sphere label in here. So you would just add sphere of influence as the lead. That way you're going to have that label. So if, for instance, you all of a sudden you just want to just do an email to everybody in that label, you can do an email to just everybody in that label. So that's something you definitely want to do. You want to really focus a lot of attention on how many contacts do I have in my database. And we're doing a lot of office campaigning and ads just to build the contacts in our database as well, because anything you do and we do together combined will help us all. So one of the things we're going to be doing for you guys, because you guys are making the effort of getting people to register under your website, what we're also going to do is make sure we're branding. You're going to be doing your job to brand yourself in front of those people. We want to do our job as a company also to make sure they don't forget Lux Group and you. Because, if it's all working together and they're just like, I don't really know Jeff, but I keep seeing stuff from Lux. Maybe I should give Jeff a chance. It can all work to the positive to everybody. So we're actually doing campaigns to this database too, and we're actually I've already noticed an uptick of people kind of coming back to the website, because if someone registers and they're just not ready yet, yeah, the website's going to start sending them daily listing alerts up all the time. And yes, they're going to start getting the drip campaigns from the office. It doesn't mean if they're not ready, you know what they're doing to that stuff? They're just pushing it aside. They're not saying no. They're just saying not right now. That's the thing you got to realize is when people don't respond to your calls, don't respond, it's probably not no. They don't know you enough to say no to you. They're saying not right now. So think about that. They may be saying no because we know another realtor, but they're not really rejecting you. They're just rejecting the fact that they've got a reason to not want to talk to you right now.
I have one here that pretty much told me, I'm not interested, not looking, and they're open property markets.
Yeah, so that's probably not right now.
Yeah.
If someone's continually looked at properties on the website, it doesn't cost you anything. So let them look.
Yeah,
Right, they're seeing your name and picture, and so we want to be consistent with growing that database. Now, based on your business plan, we want to identify the key areas of focus in your business plan and what advertising you need to do on Facebook revolved around those key categories. Remember that one of your key areas should always be your sphere of influence. So we're going to build an advertising campaign that's to your sphere of influence. We're going to download your export. Probably every month you'll download a new CSV file, and then you'll run your ads for that month to your sphere of influence based on that beginning of every month database list. So as your database is growing, you want to consistently change the database that Facebook is advertising to, so that you can make sure you're hitting up everybody that's in your sphere of influence. Your key areas will define if you're going to be database advertising or demographically advertising. There's two ways to advertise on Facebook. One is you're picking a bunch of demographics, people that show interest in certain things or have a certain relationship status, or we're going to be doing it to a database. And the databases are going to come from your sphere of influence, and may also come from a download of information from MLS that we then end up uploading to Facebook. And I want to show you guys that today. So we'll show you that as one of the opportunities for advertising. Listing focused ads should be database driven rather than demographically based driven. We have had some success with the demographic home value ads and stuff like that. But if you're download a database from MLS of people that own a home, that have owned it for a certain amount of time, that have a certain square footage, certain number of bedrooms, certain number of baths, that list that you advertise to is going to be way more powerful than just saying, hey, I want to run an ad to a 15-mile radius around Worcester of people that might be looking to sell. You can hone it in more than that. So we'll show you guys how to do that. As far as one of the avenues we're going to use is MLS to download that database and upload it to Facebook. If one of your key areas of your business plan has become famous in a specific market, we talked about this, becoming the town go-to the agent that everybody says, well, that's the agent you need to talk to in town. If you want to become that, even if you don't have all the listings yet, you can't get there without being seen in town, live, but also online. So we want to make sure that one of our key areas in our Facebook advertising is if it's Auburn and that's where we want our business, then one of the key categories of our advertising will be all people that live in Auburn, and we'll be able to do that through Facebook and advertise it just the people in Auburn, and that may help you decide where is my ad being started from, where is it going to be sponsored from? Is it going to be sponsored from Jeff Brooks Realtor's business page, or is it going to be sponsored from a Best of Auburn page? And that you'll make decisions based on that are going to be best suited towards your goal of becoming famous in the marketplace. Also, if you're doing an advertising campaign to become famous in the marketplace, it's not all going to be about you may do a little video with a business owner in town and say, hey, I'm at Tony's Pizzeria. This is where I come for pizza every Friday night. It's the best pizza in town. Hey, Tony, say hi. And that might be a little video you do. And if you want to become famous in a marketplace, then you might be spending a little bit of money on advertising to advertise that video in front of a certain group of people that live in that town. So we'll develop that as well. Get comfortable with video. When we approach real estate from a giving, helping approach, I'm sorry, but there's no better way to show your giving nature, and that you're looking to give first, and the rest will come to you. Then that's best shared through people seeing your face and hearing your voice. That's why the Best of Auburn's Best of community pages stuff is great, but if it's all text-based, then you're going to have a little bit harder time than if you can stick some video in there. So we want to get comfortable with doing video. Unfortunately, video is the future. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I find myself scrolling through videos all the time. And Mark Zuckerberg had said, I think a couple of years ago, within the next 5 years, Facebook will basically be a video platform. And if you want to get any kind of impact with anybody, it's going to be through video. So at some point, we got to get comfortable with that. Number 4, decide what you will post, who your audience is, and what your hook will be. We talked earlier before this class started about doing the boring, not boring test right before you post. Make sure your ads are appealing and have a clear message. So if your message is, hey, I want you to share this, then it should be, hey, I want you to share this. If it's, click here, what is the action you want them to take? So you have to decide what that action is. You got to make it catchy and make them want to click. Think of it from a giving perspective first. So if you, instead of all your ads being, hey, search for homes, hey, get your home value, certainly those are helpful, but there are other helpful things you can do. Maybe it's a report, your home buying guide. Maybe you share that every once in a while on your Facebook page and you run a boost for it. Maybe it's a little video you do, say, hey, this is what I do when I first meet. If your goal is to get more buyers that are willing to meet with you and sit down and talk about the home buying process before they go out and start searching for homes, then maybe you do a little video, just say, hey, I love working with buyers. I love helping them find their first home. And the way I have the most success is first sitting down with someone and really talking about their goals and their needs and their wants, and making sure we all have a great understanding of what you want, and it helps me do my job better. So if you're looking to buy a home, this is the thing that you should be doing before you start looking for homes, or after seeing the first home, is you should sit down with your agent, whether it's me or anyone else, and making sure that they and you understand how you're going to work together, what the process is going to be like, how to find that perfect home, and then move on to seeing more homes. So you're kind of providing a coaching and a giving perspective, as well as just, just, hey, here's my website, please register. And when I call you, I hope you answer so that you do business. You know what I mean? I think too often where we give just a very little bit and then we want an answer back. Like, I gave you my website. You're looking at homes on my website. Come on, you're not going to buy with me?
I asked
So-
you to share my video. You didn't.
Yeah.
My post.
I asked you to share my one post, and you didn't. So what's up? So you got to give, and then ask for the business. But the catchy thing is also important. We talked about even bringing things in like following the lighter side of real estate, which is a Facebook page. It's a business page, but they have a lot of funny little stuff they post, and you could share those and say, hey, you know, we just talked about one a few minutes ago that it mentioned not hiring someone that knows how to take photography, and you could just share that and give them a link to your home value page and say, hey, if you're thinking about selling, you need someone that knows how to take pictures and knows that they should be hiring a professional photographer for every listing. So keep it catchy. Learn how to manage Facebook Ads Manager. It's important to learn how to use Facebook Ads Manager. You can't effectively manage an advertising campaign through boosting. Boosting will get you some leads, but it's not going to be organized in any fashion. And in my opinion, you're just going to be throwing money at the wall and hoping something happens. That's not the way we want to approach advertising. So we're going to learn how to use Facebook Ads Manager totally. In addition,
Pretty much a waste of time.
what's that? Boosting?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it'll serve a purpose on a listing because your seller wants to see you advertising. And you do a boost and you could, you know, let's say you took a listing and it was outside the area you really want to focus on. You may just do a boost because you want to try to sell that property and you want to suffice that you're advertising it for the seller. So you may get a listing in Marlboro. Marlboro may not be where you want to grow a lot of business. You still may do a boost just because you want to boost an open house or you want to boost that listing, but it's not within your business plan goals. Any of your business plan goals you should be doing through Ads Manager. And occasionally you're going to do an ad through a boost because you just want to get a new listing out there, but it's not in your focus area. You're not going to be sending it to a specific demographic. So you may just boost on occasion, but more so with your focused advertising plan, we want to use Ads Manager. So when you're in Ads Manager, you basically have campaigns, you have ad sets, and you have ads. And we'll go through this. I'm going to pull it up in a second here. But your campaigns should be your 4 key areas. So one should be sphere of influence. One should be your listing group. One should be your buyer group. And maybe one is your become famous in Auburn group or whatever town you're focusing in. And then your ad sets are going to be who are you advertising to? Because the nice thing about it, if you organize this and you set up your ad sets right, if you have a database of 20,000 people you're putting your posts in front of because you're trying to get listings, then once you set up that ad set, you can quickly add ads to that same ad set without having to upload the file again, without having to, if you're doing a demographic ad where you're adding in all these interests, then you're not having to add those interests every time. You have preset ad sets that will allow you to continuously use the same demographics and the same, especially if you find something that's working really well and you want to say, yeah, I may be running different ads to this ad set, but this ad set is killing it. Then that's something you want to do. You want to make sure you're using consistently ad sets. And I see a lot of agents that every time they create a new ad, they're creating a new campaign, a new ad set name, or you'll see a lot of them that are named like ad set 38 to 55 because you didn't name them, and it doesn't keep organized if you don't label it correctly. You want to decide what your advertising schedule is going to be also. The reason we want to keep it consistent is we want to be able to measure it. So you want to run ads at least 7 days. You may get to a point where you find an ad that's really working for you that you want to just extend for an unknown amount of time and just let it keep running because you know it's working. You know you spend $10 a week on it. You know you're getting 1 to 2 leads a week on it. You say I can control and quantify that, so I'm just going to extend it out. But while you're in the testing phase, let them run, set them to schedule for 7 days. And on the 7th day, you want to examine the results. When that ad ends, you want to examine the results. How many clicks did you get? How many leads did you get from that ad spend? In my opinion, if you're spending if you're spending $10 or less per lead captured, then you're good to go. You're going to see your lead captures by the people that are registering in your sync, in the back end of your sync, and so you want to look at it and see how many registrations you had per your ad spend. If you're spending more than $10 an hour, more than $10 per lead, then we should talk and see what might not be working. Maybe the ad wasn't effective. You have to think about it from a perspective of the clientele as well. Like, for instance, John was asking me why his ad didn't seem to be working, and it was an open house ad for this weekend, this Sunday, for a house that's been on the market for a while. So it was basically boosting the open house. The hard part might be, oh no, it wasn't boosting a specific open house. It was all open houses in Hopkinton this Sunday or this weekend coming up. It's a weekend before Christmas. If you're not super serious, you're not going to an open house in the weekend. So the reality is it's probably just the wrong time of year to run that kind of ad. Not that that ad wouldn't be effective come, February and March, when open houses start getting very popular and there's a lot of new listings hitting the market. And there's a lot of open houses every weekend. That ad might be very effective another time of year, but you have to think about it from a perspective of, is what I'm advertising in want right now, in demand? And if it's not, then it may not be worth advertising, if that makes sense. Decide on your targeted demographics for each ad category. And I want to go through some guidelines. I could put some guidelines in here as well, so that you kind of know. And I'm going to be continuous as I watch more training material, as I research more, as I see things that are working, things that aren't. I'm going to be adding to this kind of stuff. But if you're not advertising to a database, then you're advertising to a set of demographics. Please don't run ads that are just 15-mile radius around a property with no additional demographics and just run it. You're just, again, you're throwing money at everybody. You're putting your ad in front of renters that have shitty credit, that could have never hopes of buying a house. And who's to say they don't register? They're like, oh, it would be nice to buy a house. So they click on your link and they register, and then you call them up and you waste time getting them to your lender, and you don't really want to work with that type of client. And then it just sends you down a road that you don't necessarily want to go down. So we want to use demographics. Here's some of the demographics that do work from a lot of the research I've been doing. And the interests. These are interests that people on Facebook have that are common to real estate. Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia Real Estate, Homes.com, Home Depot, Lowe's, mortgage broker, buying a house, mortgage calculator, real estate, buying and selling real estate, pre-qualification lending, for sale by owner, single-family detached homes, condominium, just married, engagement ring, divorce. Those are some of them. There's more. Anything you have an idea for, if you type it in, you'll probably find it on there. There's others, like you could probably do, what's that? Investment properties, ones that I've seen in there. If you're going after the luxury market, if you start typing in luxury, there's a lot of luxury interests that come up that you could add in there. Luxury cars, luxury real estate, luxury this. So it depends on, you have to define what you're going after, and then there's more beyond what I have listed here that are out there, but this is it's a good starting point. Under the demographics, you also have parents. There's a bunch of different options, but if you're looking for people that are potentially selling houses, thinking about moving up, you probably want to hit all the categories from 0 to age 15. Anywhere in that window, people with kids might be thinking about doing something in real estate. So you start typing in parents, and all these links will come up, and you just start checking the boxes off of the ones you want to hit. Relationship status is a demographic in there. If you hit the browse button, you'll see all of them, but some of the ones that are in there are married, newlywed, newly engaged, divorced, separated, widowed. All these people are typically doing what? They're not, as a majority, those kind of people are doing things. Married, somebody could be married for 30 years and not moving, I guess. But if you're newlywed, newly engaged, divorced, separated, widowed, either you just did something moving wise or you're thinking about doing something moving wise in the next few years. So those are good categories to hit. Education level, I don't usually get into that. I mean, anybody can buy a house, and I probably could argue that having a college degree is probably makes you less likely to buy a house before you're 30. You know, with all the, I just was reading yesterday on Facebook that the starting tuition at BU with housing, and that, regardless whether you're living on campus or not now, is $70,000 a year. That's $70,000 a year to get a college. $280,000 to come in get in a college. That's nuts. So I wouldn't really put education level in there, but always make sure you also exclude in the exclude box real estate agent / broker, real estate broker, realtor, employers. Like if you start typing these up, you'll see the item comes up, but then next to it, it'll say whether it's an interest or an employer or a job title. Make sure both under the job title section and the employer section that you're getting all of these. That way you're not going to be showing your ad to real estate agents. And the reason you don't want to do this, if you can help it, is they're the most likely ones to click on your ads and start wasting your money. They love to waste other agents' money. So make sure you're using those. So that's the advertising workbook. Now let's get into the advertising itself. We talked about the website, how it does its job of lead capture and conversion on its own, but we need to know how to run ads. This is my ads manager. So you can see when you're in Facebook Ads Manager, and if you don't know how to get to it, let's go back to my Facebook page here. Go back to my home page. Over here somewhere on the left-hand side, it may be in the See More button, depending on how many links you have here. You're going to see Ad Manager. And you want to click on your Ad Manager, open it up. When you first set it up, it'll probably ask you for a credit card number, or when you go to run your first ad, it may. Not sure which one it will do. But once you're in your Ad Manager, you're going to see an account. You're going to see 4 links here. Account Overview, which is a good way to kind of see, what your impressions are overall on a consistent basis, how many unique clicks you've had, how many people you've reached. And I tell you what, if your advertising is focused in a specific area instead of all over the map, if all your advertising money is in a 3-town radius and you're getting, and you start looking at your reach, that's never money that's poorly spent, in my opinion, because if you're looking to grow your business in a specific area, any impression you have in front of somebody is valuable. I was watching an advertising message earlier, and you can never quantify how much your impression has value, but do you think that Coca-Cola questions how much return on investment they're getting from an anybody who advertises in the Super Bowl? Do you think they can quantify how much return they've made on that investment? They can't. It's all impression based. It's all we know is that that's keeping Coca-Cola's top of mind awareness. There's a reason that nobody's ever touched Coca-Cola from a perspective of brand recognition when you're going to go buy a soda. Pepsi's always been number 2. They'll never be number 1 until probably never at this point, because Coca-Cola spent enough money. But obviously you're trying to do this at a micro scale locally. But if your advertising is all local and your impressions are up there, good for you. Keep spending it. Obviously we want leads from our ad spend too, but don't underestimate the fact that the impressions also have a high importance to your business in your local market. Now your campaigns. You'll see we have campaigns, ad sets, and ads. If you click on one, you can start to look at what you've had in what you're doing. I've selected one campaign. I want to look at my buyer ads non-database. So this would be like a demographic following. And then I can look at what ad sets I have and what ads I'm running in that campaign. The nice part about Ads Manager is you can see everything, like what my daily budget is, how many clicks I've had, how many people I've reached. I've spent $1.54 per click, spent $6.17 so far. I know I haven't gotten a registration yet from that, but that's okay because I've only spent $6. I'll probably get a registration in the next few dollars spent. But
It's get to
I think you stepped out of the room while we showed you that. On your home page, on the left-hand side, somewhere.
Your business page, right?
No, your home page.
Just your regular.
Regular home page on the. Did you find it?
No,
I'll show you that after. Oh,
I'm on my home page.
yeah, it's on the left-hand side, somewhere towards the bottom, or you might have to click on See More. But we can go over that afterwards. So we're looking at campaigns. If we want to start a new campaign, we haven't started a campaign yet. We're just going to start a new one. I'm going to call this one Becoming Famous in the Marketplace. So I'm going to create my campaign. And traffic is always the one you want to use. Traffic is the best for conversion. But you see here, it's automatically naming the campaign traffic, but we want to replace that. We want to call it my Famous in Shrewsbury campaign. Let's call it that. Once we hit continue, we're basically moving on to the ad set portion of it. So once we finish this whole thing, it's going to show up the way we are building this. So we want to make sure we rename our ad set name. So if I'm going to become famous in Shrewsbury, then who am I going to be putting my ads in front of for in that town? Is it going to be everyone in the town? And maybe I do. Maybe I'd spend some money trying to reach everyone in the town, but I'm just going to say demographic. I'm going to call this one demographic because I'm not uploading a database to these ads to. And this ad set, I'm going to be doing a demographic base. So I'm going to call it my demographic ad set. And here's where we would scroll down. And if I'm trying to become famous in Shrewsbury, then I don't want to do to everybody in the United States, obviously. So I'm going to X that out. And I want to do Shrewsbury, Mass. It automatically pulls up a radius, but we want to click on this little down arrow here and click on current city only. So now I'm just going to be doing it to Shrewsbury because I'm trying to become famous in Shrewsbury. And do I really care to be in front of people that are 18? Probably not. They're probably not really looking to buy right now. Maybe 24, 25, somewhere in that range. Maybe 27 if you want to narrow it even more. And now who am I going to target in this town? This is where you would start to build your demographics. So realtor.com, you can use my list and just basically start typing them in and selecting. But you can also click on the browse button over here and start looking at what are all available demographics in town. So parents is one of them. So if I click on parents and then click on this next drop down, you'll see, all right, parents 0 to 12 months, 3 to 5, 18 to 26, 6 to 8, and just start clicking off the ones we want to keep. And then under the exclude people button, that's where we want to start typing in real estate agent and using the guide to put in the people you want to exclude from that list of people that you're advertising to. Does that make sense? All right. So we labeled our ad set. This is going to be demographics because I'm not uploading a spreadsheet for that. These are, finally, I build out all my demographics of who I want to focus these ads to. One of the things I've seen recently, and it's up to you, is a lot of marketers are checking off Instagram. They're not seeing all that much click-through from Instagram, and they want to know really like exactly how much Facebook is giving me, because you won't see on any website that your link came from Instagram. You won't know. You won't know what came from Instagram, what came from Facebook. So a lot of advertisers are just focusing on just Facebook and clicking off Instagram. And then if you scroll down, you got to pick your budget. Again, we want to do a lifetime budget probably, or we could do a daily budget. We could say daily. I want to do daily, $10 a day, but I want it to end. I want it to end in a week. So they're always going to like have it preset for like a month. But again, you want to run these on a week-to-week basis. You don't want to run it for a month and forget about it. You want to run it for a week, look at it, see what it did, and then decide if you want to run it again or extend it.
You wanna run it for a month, you go.
Yeah, right. So maybe
It's
make
not
it
real money.
$5 a day. I'm not going to go. I'm just going to set it up that. So now we hit continue. Now we're moving on to create the ad name. And again, you'll see up here, the first thing it's pulling up is, what is your ad name? So depending on what your ad is your ad a home value ad? Is your ad a sharing of a video you did for a pizza place in town? You decide what that ad is going to be. Let's just say it's a home value ad. And where is it going to be identified from? Is it going to be from your personal group TRB, your personal page? Is it going to be your community page that you created? You decide what the source is going to be. And then you decide, is it going to be an image that I'm posting? Is it going to be a video that I am posting and advertising? And obviously you need to decide that. Let's just make it a home value ad. So I'm just gonna, you can either use an image that you have on your computer, or you could even use the stock images. Some of these stock images are great. So if you click on stock images and say home value, they have some great ones in here. What's your property worth? Obviously, this isn't going to help you become famous in the marketplace because your face isn't attached to it, but doesn't mean it's not worth doing. You just have to think about what you're doing. So now it's added in the preview down here if you scroll down, and you could leave it like that. I would obviously you can change your buttons if you wanted to say book now. You could say book now, and then you want to make sure you put in your website link. So if it's your home value page, you got to get your link for your home page. And I don't know what that is. Let's go back over to our website and just pull that off. So if you go to your website and you go to your home value page, you can then pull that URL over and put it in that ad, because that's going to be what they click on. That's where you want them to land. So we're going to put that in our URL window. And then you'll see it's automatically, did that not work? There it goes. Now it's automatically pulling some text in here, Lux Group Homes, home evaluation, find out what your home is worth. That's pretty good text. If you wanted to change that, you could just start typing here, and you'll start seeing that, the text up here goes up above. So you might say, get your home value. And again, think about what you're writing in here. Get your home value is kind of boring. It could be find out what your house, the market's hot, find out what your house is worth in today's market. You might even this time of year pull up some stats on what was the increase in sale price, average sale price for this year for Shrewsbury, or how much did it increase this year over last year? It might say the market's up 10% in Shrewsbury 2018 over 2017. Find out what your house is worth in today's hot market. Just get your home value might be kind of boring. So figure out what you want to use for your headline. If you want to change any of this below, you just start typing in here, and you'll see that starts to change as well. So if you don't like what's showing up down here, you can change that. And then once you're done, you don't have to change any of this other stuff. You hit confirm. It's saying the image is too small. So we could go back and fix that and make sure it runs. And then once you have confirmed it, most of the time it's going to be in the review phase. And you might have to click back on your ads manager to see if it's active. If it's active, that means the world is seeing it. If it's not active, then it's not going to be out there. So once you have your campaigns built, hopefully you can see the power of making sure your campaigns are built based on your key areas of your business plan. Your ad sets are built based on, again, on who you want to see that ad. Demographics or or a database. And then from there, what ads are you running within those campaigns? So for instance, right now, if I wanted to see what I have for company branding ads running, I just click on that one and then come over to ads, and I have one that's running, and I can see that I've spent $40 on it. I've had 2,000 impressions and 23 clicks. So that is, and that's being run to, I'm branding the company in front of real estate agents, and I'm branding the company in front of people that have been on our website. So this is a database set, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. But this is a database set that I'm advertising to a database of real estate agents and everybody from Sync. So 23 people that are either real estate agents or have been on our Sync site at some point in time have re-clicked on our website and ended up back over there. So now you're trying to figure out, okay, what if I'm going to do advertising that's not demographically based, then it's got to be a database driven advertisement. So where do I get my databases from? One is Sync, and can all the agents download the database now?
Yes.
So if they click on what export leaders dashboard, click on export leads, you can export your entire file. The other way I'm going to show you is through today. One of the ones I'm going to show you, if you don't have Remind, which is another great tool we'll go over in the coming weeks, is the public record database. So if I log into MLS and go to Tools, Public Records, I'm going to start searching a town. Let's say Shrewsbury is the town I want to use. And I'm looking for people that own their house for longer than 3 years. So I want to go back, let's say, I'm going to go back 15 years. So 15 years, what's today, 2019? Let's call it 1995. So 01, 1995 through 01, 2013, let's say. So they've owned it more than 5 years, but less than 15 years. So people that have owned their house in that window, 3 to 15 years ago. I want to select property type single family. And I also may want to put in living area, because I don't want to sell houses that are less than 1,000 square feet. So maybe I do 1,000 plus. Let's see how many people in Shrewsbury that fits. 4,500. So just for shortness reasons, I want to just download it at this point. So I'm going to click on this little select all button. I'm going to download, because I want to get this out of MLS. These are all people that own houses. This has got their first name, last name, and the town they live in. And that's all we need to target them on Facebook. So here's our database. We need to export to a CSV file, depending on whether you have a Mac or a regular computer. Either way, you should have a Save As button, where it's either Save As or Export As. So you're going to export it as the Shrewsbury seller list, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. So now we've exported that. Now we're going to go back to Ad Manager. And if you've built your campaigns, then it should show up on your campaigns. It would be your, it might be your, let's build one that's a listing focused ad now, because we're trying to get listed. We're trying to get people that are move up. So I might be building a new campaign at this point, because I don't have, one's my buyer, a database, non-database driven, which is just demographic ads. One is company branding, one is recruiting. So now I'm going to create one that's a targeted list for home value ads. So we're going to call this seller. This is a seller campaign. We're going to call this ad set. We're going to call this Shrewsbury sellers database. I'm going to put database because we're not doing it demographically this time. We're going to do it to a database. And then to market to any database, this is all you have to do. You have to come down here, and it says custom audiences. Now, if you have already uploaded them and used them before, they're going to be in your, if you double click in the custom audiences, they're going to show up. So if it was already here, then I wouldn't need to upload it, but I'm uploading a new list, so I'm going to hit create new, click on custom audience, and then I'm going to use customer file. And it's going to say, how am I importing it? From a file? Yes. Once you click on that, you're going to see, it's going to ask you where you got the data source. Just say customers and partners. That's where you got them from. And you're going to upload file. So now we want to find that file. What did I call it? Seller? Did I call it Shrewsbury? Shrewsbury seller list. So we're going to choose that. And then we're going to hit next. And it's now, basically, it's trying to match data. So you want to go through this and make sure that the data is matching. So city, obviously, we want to match up with city. And you want to make sure these match state. You want to match up with state. Postal code is already matched. Sometimes they'll automatically already be matched. Sometimes they won't. And then you want to do name. And then you want to click upload and create. 500 rows uploaded. I thought I uploaded more than that. I thought I wonder if my CSV file didn't download right. But for the sake of purposes, then you hit complete. And then you just basically move on to, at this point, you create your budget just like you would anything else. You hit continue, and then you create your ad. Again, it's just like creating an ad for anything else. So this one might be a home value ad that you're putting in front of people you know own a house in Shrewsbury that have owned it for a certain amount of time that that you want to go after. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Where did you get the list of Shrewsbury? Was it you going to the MLS for that?
Yeah, we just showed you guys that. Like I just
Okay,
tools, public records. So then type in Shrewsbury,
okay.
and then you want to pick. You want to know. I mean, you could just do it to all owners in Shrewsbury. If you wanted to do it, if you didn't care. I mean, again, Facebook is a cheap enough platform where it's not like you're mailing to these homes. So you could just do, how many single-family homes are there in Shrewsbury? Let's see. Or let's say I want all single-family homes in Shrewsbury that have a living area more than 1,000 square feet, because I don't want to sell homes that are difficult to sell. Let's see how many there are. 8,600 properties. So I mean, ideally, when you're advertising, you want your audience to be at least probably 10,000. So that's not a bad list. And maybe you just even delete out the 1,000 plus, and let's see how many homes are in Shrewsbury now that are single family homes. 9,300. So might as well just do it to all of them. So again, if we click on it and then we hit download. Then we can pull it up and
It'll go to their Facebook page.
yes.
Everybody, or is it like if and chooses like
As,
certain?
It's gonna hit probably between 80 and from everything I've done my research on, 80% plus. Because unless someone used the reason it wouldn't find them, the reason Facebook wouldn't find them is they use a nickname and it doesn't match, or they didn't update where they live now. If Facebook knows, if you put in Facebook lives in Shrewsbury, first name, last name, that's all they need to match them up. So, and you'll see how well it does by how many clicks you get. You know, if you run that ad and you see that no one's clicking, then maybe there's a disconnect there. But if people are clicking on it, then it's been putting those ads in front of those people very well. I've tested this with some of these lists, like in particular, lists of real estate agents. And at first when you start doing this stuff, you kind of wonder, is it really just showing up to real estate agents? And anybody who's viewing it, anybody that's clicking on them is all real estate agents. So that database focused marketing definitely works.
Right.
So you just have to, make sure, the database is got enough people in it and it's focused enough. But this does it pretty well. Any questions with that? So really you have to start thinking about, the biggest thing is just thinking about your marketing and what your campaigns are going to be, what your ads are going to look like, and how you're focusing that advertising. Who you're marketing to. Is it a demographic list? Is it a targeted list? And then once you have these built out, so if, for instance, one of your campaigns is become famous in Shrewsbury, and you get a listing in Shrewsbury, then all of a sudden one of your ads is a boost of is a paid ad for your listing that you got, and you're putting it out to the same demographic. So if you create your demographic set or your Excel file that you're advertising to, so if you literally say, I'll work with buyers, but as long as they're selling a house, I'm not seeking out buyers that in particular that are just buying their first house. That's not where my bread and butter is. I want a listing focused business, but I'll work with buyers that need to, I don't know how many of you would say no to somebody that's like, oh, I got to sell a $300,000 house. I don't want to buy a $500,000 house. It's a $20,000 potential commission in one client. Sure, you want to focus on that. So all my advertising for buyers then and for listings would be focused to a downloaded set of spreadsheets. So I might take MLS and download those, 8,900 homes from Shrewsbury that are single family homes and maybe I do want to get more specific with it. I want to focus on Shrewsbury, Westboro, Northborough, Grafton, those 4 towns. And I want to put my ads in front of people that have bigger than 1,000 square foot house, that have owned their house for more than 3 years, less than 20 years. And you might create 4 different lists. Use this to create 4 different lists of 8,000 to 10,000 people. Now you have 30,000 people in 3 different Excel files. When you're creating your ads in here and you create, create an ad, get through the traffic side, and you get to your ad sets, you can upload multiple Excel files. So, for instance, because I've uploaded a few in here, I have agents in Massachusetts. I have Dr. Bill, which is another list of real estate agents I have. So I can add multiple lists into each ad. So if I have one of my files in here is Shrewsbury sellers, Northborough sellers, Grafton sellers, Northborough sellers. From there, what kind of ads do you want to put in front of those people? Both home value ads. You want to put in, hottest homes available in Shrewsbury, hottest homes available in Grafton. Because just because they live in Shrewsbury doesn't mean they want to stay in Shrewsbury. If they live in Grafton now and they want to move to Shrewsbury, you know what I mean? You want to mix up those ads to hit that group of people that you're advertising to. But if you're running that kind of advertising, that everybody that registers is also a seller. They haven't told you yet. They may be just looking at homes in Grafton, but they're a seller, and if you're running these ads, you can look them up and find out what property they own. Because all of a sudden, Mary Smith registers, she's looking at homes in Shrewsbury. You got that lead registration because you ran this ad. They're probably a seller. You can look them up in public records, find out that they own a house in Northborough, and that obviously they're trying to move to Grafton. So now you could send instead of mailing to thousands of homes, you could send a mailer to Mary Smith in Grafton, and it wouldn't be like, hey, I know you're looking to move to Shrewsbury, because that's kind of creepy. But would you send, hey, if you're looking for your home value, I'd love to help you out. You have 100 postcards, and you're only sending them to the people that register, that you then do the research and find out they own a house. Do you think that's impactful? Wow, I'm on Jill's website, and now I'm getting a mailer in my mailbox saying, get your home value, or or here's a recent listing that I've taken. Now it becomes a more impactful, getting famous in whatever marketplace you want. So you can develop as many of these lists as you want and work them from there, which is the way to do it. That's the way you kind of build a successful campaign that you can register, you can measure and kind of see what's working, what's not. I mean, if you're getting any ad you're running, if your cost per result is less than $2, you're pretty good. For probably every 5 to 10 clicks through to your website, you're going to get a registration. And so that's really the way to do it. And then we'll add in, after we get you guys running these and getting these honed into your business plan, then we'll add in Google, so that you're showing up in Google. And for some of you, if you haven't been around long enough, one of the things you even want to do with, let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I can find the link that I had open for it, but I can't right now. But Google, you can make sure that anytime anybody Googles your name, your website is the first thing to show up at the top. If you Google your name right now, what would show up? Because people will Google your name. Most of the time, Facebook will. But if you want to also make sure your website is up there, you could run very cheaply an ad on Google to just secure the fact that when people Google you, they're going to find you. I set up an ad just for Lux Group so that anytime anybody shows up at Lux Group, clicks on Google's Lux Group, I want to make sure our website is number one. And it's a paid ad, but I think it's maybe costing $5 a week to make sure we're up there, and the $5 doesn't get spent unless somebody Googles it and clicks on it. So I know that somebody, the nice part about Google is anything you run for an ad on Google, you're not spending the money unless somebody clicks. So it's obviously been worth it to make sure Lux Group is number one, because people are clicking on it. And that could be, you can't underestimate what people are doing. That's probably people that are just out there saying, I drove by a real estate sign and it said Lux Group on it, so let's Google Lux Group, because I don't even know what street it was on. And they might end up that way. Same thing with you. They might say, oh, I'm getting all this stuff from Jeff Brooks. Who the hell is Jeff Brooks? Let me go Google Jeff Brooks and find out what this guy is all about. So think about it from that perspective. And what we want to really use this advertising campaign to do is to make sure that you're sticky. Don't underestimate the amount of what do I want to call it? Distractions out there for people. Distractions are the amount of emails we get, the amount of posts on Facebook, the amount of advertising on TV, the amount of stuff we have going on in our lives. Our lives are busy. And I think pretty much every adult human in the United States has ADD right now. Because I don't know about you, I find it too, like, to hone in and concentrate on something, it's hard because you got people chatting over here, you got your phone ringing, you got people sending you texts, you got people posting on Facebook, you get tagged in a multiple, right today I just got invited to an open house on Messenger with 500 other realtors. And it's been dinging the whole time I've been in this training, because every time somebody, and it's like, I got to leave the group so that I don't it's constant distraction from everywhere. So you got to think about it from that perspective too. People are not just going to do business with you because they see you on Facebook. They may not even be seeing you on Facebook if you're not connecting at the right times. They may be getting emails from you. Doesn't mean they're seeing them. Doesn't mean they're reading them. They might be getting mailers from you. Doesn't mean it's all got to work together. You got to try to hit everybody that you're going after in multiple mediums. If you can be on the Facebook and be on Google in front of them, be in their mailbox, and just consistently stay in front of them, that's how you're going to build a brand for yourself. So, all right, so that's all I had for this class. I just wanted to kind of get in and show you the differences of working with Ad Manager. You really got to get in and start playing with it to start working it, but just make sure you organize. If I look down through my past advertising in the past, every time I created an ad, I was creating a new campaign, Like, look at all these campaigns. This is a mess. Like, this is an absolute mess that I had created for myself. I'm going to delete a lot of them now and clean it out. But I wanted to keep it to show you, like, I've been advertising on Facebook since 2014, and for the most part, I did it in a very disorganized fashion. Has it worked? Yeah, absolutely. But I have a hard time understanding the actual impact on it because I was running too many campaigns. Every time I ran an ad, it was a new campaign, a new ad set, and a new ad. Don't do that, because once you get to the point where you have your ad sets set up, so for instance, this is a this one right here is a demographic-based ad set. And if I click on edit, I can actually see what that demographic is. It's those towns that I want to go after. These are all the demographics I have for that. So those are my set demographics. I took the time to build that. And now if I wanted to run, right now I'm running one ad under that. But if I click on that ad set and I wanted to create a new ad under that campaign, I can create a new ad under that campaign. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong ad. So if I have the demographic thing place, and now if I'm on the ads for that ad set, I've got one ad running right now. If I wanted to create a new ad under that ad set, I could create a new ad under that. So I just use existing campaign. I'm going to use the, which one was that? That was the buyer ads non-database. I'm going to use that campaign. I'm going to hit continue. And now I want to use existing ad set because I've already created that ad set. So demographic base, that's the one I want to use. It's going to copy. And now I know that I'm using something that's worked for me in the past. And I'm using the same demographics over and over again as opposed to recreating the wheel every time I want to create an ad. So that's how you want to make sure. And then you obviously create a new ad name so that, now you'll see multiple ads running under the same campaign and the same demographic base. That way, if you uploaded 10, let's say you uploaded 10 towns of sellers, people that own houses, 3 to 15 years, and you develop 10 Excel files that have a total of 50,000 people in it, and you create that under your ad set, you can keep running ads to that same group, that same group, that same group, that same group. That's effective. If maybe they don't click on your first ad, but then they see it again. Maybe they don't click on the second one, then they see it again. Some people click the first time, some will click the second, some click the third. Some will click and register and then forget about you or not pay attention to it, or maybe your emails are showing up in their spam, going in their spam, and they never look at their spam. Like, I don't even look at my junk mail anymore. I used to try to clear it out every day. I don't even care anymore. There's like 1,000 emails in my junk mail. I'm not looking at those. It's too much work. So, but if you ran that ad again in front of them on Facebook, now it's a new ad, new message. They click on it again, they might end up back in your website again, even though they already registered. So you might be bringing back old business that you already spent money to capture them on, but you might be bringing them back. So that's definitely something you need to start thinking about, and we'll want to manage that closely. And if you're managing it, then I can help you make good decisions on what's working, what's not. And, even from a perspective of, this may sound complicated, but even if you're spending $10 a week, $15, $20 a week, still start spending it in the right ways. And if you're going to spend that little, I think you're better off doing it to databases than to do it to demographics. Because Facebook's going to want to, yeah, you're narrowing it down with your demographics, but it's still a pretty big pool in Facebook, because you're not necessarily putting it in front of just sellers or sellers that have owned a certain number of years or anything like that. You're putting it kind of in a big, pretty broad range. For instance, like, we just downloaded from Shrewsbury. How many homes? 10,000 homes. I think the population of Shrewsbury is 50,000. So if you're not spending a lot of money on advertising, then why would you try to put it in front of 50,000 people, of which 40,000 are probably likely to not do anything next year? Spend it in front of the 10,000 that are maybe most likely to do something next year. So that's what we want to think about. And once you have your business plan in place and you know what you're going to start out with in the beginning of the year for advertising in each to try to reach your goals, then we can help you develop your ad plan to suit. Ideally, if you're you want to make a certain dollar of volume and you know you're going to have to spend, let's say, $10,000 over the course of a year to make your goals on advertising, you're probably going to want to spend half of it in the first 3 months of the year, because that's where you need those spring clients. You can't just think about it from the perspective of, all right, so I want to close $150,000 with the business this year, and I want to spend $10,000 in marketing, so I'll spend $1,000 a month. That's not how you should be thinking about this. You should be thinking about, I need to jam my database the first 3 months of the year so that some of those clients will buy in the spring, some will buy in the summer, some will buy in the fall, but by the end of the year, I'll be golden. And if you can't do that up front because you don't have the money, then figure out what you can spend in the first month or two of the year. And then when you have your first closing, figure out, how much of that can I put back? It may hurt a little bit. I may have to be broke until May, but it's putting the money in my business that I need to make sure that I'm not approaching the second half of the last quarter of the year saying, well, my goals were this, but I have to set it back. So it's no different than any other business. You're putting money into your business, and most business owners live broke, and then they turn a corner. But make sense? All right. That's all I got for today. I'm going to end this session.
So I was looking at the Ads Manager app, and